Hello everyone, welcome back. Here on my channel, I cover de-dollarization quite frequently, as many of you already know. It is a significant shift that has already begun. De-dollarization is the direct result of a range of geopolitical and economic factors. But countries are not going to stop using the dollar overnight. So anyone who tells you that it will be a sudden overnight change is likely doing so to create additional drama, to create additional panic, and perhaps, I'm assuming here, to encourage you to invest into something to hedge your risk. Don't get me wrong, you should hedge your risk. You should invest into something that would secure your assets, but you should do so very, very carefully. And remember to not take any advice whatsoever from those who have a skin in the game, from those who directly benefit from your choices. At least that is the rule that I use. De-dollarization is going to take some time, and the weaker the hegemon becomes, the less appeal its currency will have. The dollar is losing some influence in oil markets, with the biggest crude oil importer, China, now successfully using the yuan. Foreign exchange reserves are being de-dollarized to an extent, not rapidly, but the trend is certainly clear. The US dollar still maintains its relative dominance for now, as partial de-dollarization is ramping up. Right now, there are still over 60 currencies that are pegged to the US dollar, which is just another reason why this will take some time. It's not an overnight process. There are two factors that work to undermine the value of the US dollar. Number one, the US standing as the hegemon is weakening as multipolarity is gaining momentum. There are three pillars of power upon which the value of the US dollar is based. They are economic, political, and military power of the United States. We understand that those three categories are in rapid decline. The second aspect that weakens the US dollar is the likelihood of a major adverse effect of using the dollar, such as sanctions or the US defaulting on its $35+ trillion national debt. Remember that as the Roman Empire began to decline, its emperors were minting millions of coins to do what? To cover their own expenditures. So this is very similar to the Federal Reserve keeping its money printer on for years as they keep those interest rates artificially low. Roman emperors minted more and more money, flooding their economy with increasingly worthless cash in order to cover what they perceived to be normal spending habits. As the public saw inflation increase, they lost confidence in their currency and in their government. Ultimately, the result was an increase in taxes, money became worthless, causing hyperinflation, and combined with other significant events, it led to an eventual collapse of the Roman Empire. There are certainly many parallels that we can draw with what we see today. After all empires eventually collapse and their currencies lose value, they become worthless. For months now, we've been discussing primarily three countries making efforts to move forward with an alternative financial settlement system. Those three countries happen to be the most sanctioned countries in the entire world: Russia, Iran, and the third one is a direct US competitor, not an adversary, but a direct competitor, China. However, this group of states seeking fiscal sovereignty is rapidly growing. There are some quite surprising actors who have been joining this group, such as Brazil, for example, and the latest one, Malaysia. In the past several months, Malaysia has been increasingly more visible and in the news. First, it announced that it had formally applied to join the BRICS bloc. As you know, I reported on this. Then Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim announced that he would be visiting Russia to attend an economic forum that will be held later this year, and he's planning to meet with Russia's President Vladimir Putin while he's there. Now, in a quite surprising move, just several days ago, Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim reportedly said that he supports expanding trade in local currencies, not only with China and Russia, but now with India as well. He said the Central Bank of Malaysia already has an agreement in place right now to expand the usage of the rupee in bilateral transactions with India. In West Asia, Malaysia has certainly become a leader in pushing for local currencies to be used. It has already increased its trade with Thailand and Indonesia, as well as with China, using non-dollar denominated settlement methods. Anwar Ibrahim, who is in India at the moment as we speak to strengthen Malaysia-India ties, actually said that this was the idea of PM Modi and he just supported it. And he also added that the Western system is now, quote, obsolete, those are his words, and countries really need to begin using local currencies in cross-border trade. For my US viewers, this is something that you typically would not even hear in the news. But those countries that are outside of the Western, let's call it bubble, outside of the Western bubble, they're actively pursuing new relations based on trade, based on economic cooperation, and peaceful initiatives. And this particular news related to Malaysia saying that the Western-led financial system is now obsolete, this is just a small fraction of a very strong initiative, of a very strong push to, let's say, decouple from the US dollar, precisely because it is seen as an economic weapon and as a tool to support those policies via supporting the economy of the country, but as a tool to support the policies that very few actually align with. What strikes me the most is that this type of news is very often regarded as anti-American. However, that is a cheap shot. Voicing support for the development of emerging markets via encouraging them to use local currencies has nothing to do with being anti-anybody, actually. Being supportive of developing countries' aspirations to grow their economies and to support their own people is what this is all about. So with that, let's quickly go over key benefits that Malaysia, as well as other countries that are looking to use their local currencies more and more, let's go over those benefits that they're after when they say that they need to de-dollarize and start using their local basket of currencies to settle trade. First and foremost, using local currencies allows countries to avoid economic sanctions. Simply put, the US dollar is a tool in the hands of a group of people who either use it as a stick or as a carrot. Therefore, they're able to steal interest income on frozen assets and call it theirs, when anybody would know that income generated on your assets held in a bank is still your income, not the bank's revenue. Second, using local currencies allows a country to save a considerable amount of cash since they no longer have to worry about foreign exchange rate, or in other words, they don't have to worry about currency conversion fees. That is additional cost of converting US dollars into foreign currencies. Third, increasing demand for local currencies strengthens local economies. This by far is likely the biggest and the most long-term advantage that is pursued by the global south, by the global majority. Given that there are savings associated with foreign exchange rate, businesses are able to reinvest a bigger portion of their cash back into their operations and inherently by default back into their local economies. The fourth benefit of de-dollarizing is the speed of transaction settlement. Exporters may be paid sooner, which means that they get to increase their cash flows and to boost their businesses. So those are the top 4 reasons of de-dollarizing. Of course, there are more reasons to do that, but to keep this video relatively short, I wanted to share a quick overview as there does appear to be a quite considerable amount of misinformation and misunderstanding related to de-dollarization. So with that, thanks for watching. I hope that this video was interesting. If that's the case, please show your support. Make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, consider sharing it, and subscribe both on Rumble and on YouTube. I would love to have you back for my next one. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye for now.